Hi, my name is Zuleika, aka Patricia Auk, and I'm a dancer. I'm often asked what took me from Western dance to Arab dance, and well, it's just really quite simple. After college, I wanted to keep dancing and moving, but the only class at my local YWCA offered were calisthenics or belly dance, and let's see, jumping jacks or dance. So I signed up for dance. My first teacher was a professional dancer of Lebanese heritage, and she demonstrated how the music and movement worked together, which absolutely captivated me. I thought I was going to be an elementary ed teacher, but what started as a hobby became a profession, including being a soloist at Arab restaurants and events, a member of a dance company, a dance instructor, and also a staff assistant for Simone Shaheen's annual Arabic music retreat. The quest to learn more has led me beyond my first love, which is Raq Sharqi or Oriental dance, to learning other traditional dances. I have traveled to study with master teachers, including trips to Egypt, Morocco, Lebanon, and recently Algeria. I've put my elementary degree to use by creating educational programs on Arab music and dance. 40 years ago, I had no idea that Arab culture, music, and dance was as diverse and rich as it is. My career has been a joyful and enriching journey, and I love sharing what I've learned, whether it's through performances or teaching or presenting educational programs. The journey has enriched my life in so many ways. I see dance in the Arab world as a celebration of life, from daily tasks to healing to entertainment. I'd like to share with you just a very small sample of some of the dances I've learned on this journey. I hope you enjoy. Thank
ولد الكركوتة ولد الكركوتة ولد الكركوتة في بحر وحوتة ولد الكركوتة ولد الكركوتة
يا معلمتي يا معلمتي إيجادي إيجادي إجتا ياكلنا إجتا ياكلنا بنعمل شو يا أولادي يا أولادي يا حلوين يا حلوين خليكم مطرحكم خليكم مطرحكم سمعين شو يا معلمتي يا معلمتي هيدا الدين هيدا الدين خبرتينا عنه خبرتينا عنه بياكل لحم يا أولادي يا أولادي لا تخافوا لا تخافوا هيدا الديب بياكل ولاد اللي بتفزع خفتوا شي يا معلمتي يا معلمتي نحن صغار نحن صغار ما بنعرف ندافع ما بنعرف ندافع عن الدار يا أولادي يا أولادي شوفوا كيف شوفوا كيف بحمل البارودي وبعبي البارودي وينو الدين يا معلمتي يا أولادي وينو الدين وينو الدين وين راح تهربوا لك يا دين يلا سوا ندافع نحن الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يلا سوا ندافع نحمي الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يلا سوا ندافع نحمي الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يلا سوا ندافع نحمي الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يلا سوا ندافع نحمي الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يلا سوا ندافع نحمي الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يلا سوا ندافع نحمي الدار وين الديب القاتل يا غدار يا نسيم الريح قول الرشا لم يزدني الورد إلا عطشا لي حبيب حبه وسط الحشا إني أشا يمشي على خدي مشى يا نسيم الريح قول الرشا لم يزدني الورد إلا عطشا لي حبيب حبه وسط الحشا إني أشا يمشي على خدي مشى روحي وروحي روحه روحه روحي وروحي روحه إن يشاء شئت وإن شئت يشاء إن يشاء شئت وإن شئت يشاء يا نسيم الريح قول الرشا لم يزدني الورد إلا عطشا حبه وسط الحشا إني أشاء يمشي على خدي مشى
مرحبا.
مرحبا.
شو اسمك؟
أنا اسمي أكرم حمود.
قديش عمرك؟
عمري 9 سنين.
من وين انت يا أكرم؟
أنا من لبنان
وين خلقان؟
بأمريكا.
وكيف بتحكي اللغة العربية؟
عشان أنا عربي وأنا بحب اللغة العربية، عشان اللغة العربية القرآن، واللغة العربية لغة بلدي.
حلو، شكرا كتير.
Marhaba. My name is Lina Khalaf Tufaha, and I am an Arab American poet from Seattle. My heritage is Palestinian, Jordanian, and Syrian. It's a pleasure to be with you today for the virtual Seattle Arab Festival. I'll be sharing some of my poems today from my book, Water and Salt, and from my chapbook, Arab in Newsland, as well as some more recent work. The first poem, since it's summer, that brings back memories of traveling, especially to ancestral homelands, both as a child of Arab immigrant parents and as a parent of Arab American children, and some of the liminal spaces that we find on these journeys. So this poem is entitled Cruising Altitude. Like the milky marble with the azure eye that lulled to and fro in the wooden track of the childhood puzzle, the one my mother would buy to keep me busy in line after long line, I lean back, I lunge forward. Resting on the old Samsonite, passport pages flickering fast, crackle of languages universally garbled over a loudspeaker, I move around, trailing my tribe in orderly circles. Finally through, I am suspended in my given slot. A place that was home flashes by the window, sinks beneath the mammoth wings. The shades are drawn, eyelids surrendering. Soon the roar of ascent quiets into a measured breathing of engines, strands of daylight submerged in a sea of clouds. Time will fall away as we travel back into moments others have not yet lived. Soon enough, the hum of voices thins out in the stale air. Nowhere is a homeland, too. This summer, really beginning in May, but since then, we have been witnessing in our community a horrific escalation of violence and assaults on Palestinians who are already living under occupation across Palestinian cities, Jerusalem, throughout the West Bank, in Lid and Haifa, and an especially atrocious assault on Gaza. And I wrote a poem in 2014 during another violent assault on Gaza at the time, and to my great heartbreak, I found that many readers were returning to it this summer because it remains relevant. I've received several translations of it into different languages from beautiful solidarity events across the globe where people have been standing in solidarity with Palestinians as they resist this violence. So this is running orders. They call us now. Before they drop the bombs, the phone rings and someone who knows my first name calls and says in perfect Arabic, "This is David." And in my stupor of sonic booms and glass-shattering symphonies still smashing around in my head, I think, do I know any Davids in Gaza? They call us now to say run. You have 58 seconds from the end of this message. Your house is next. They think of it as some kind of wartime courtesy. It doesn't matter that there is nowhere to run to. It means nothing that the borders are closed and your papers are worthless and mark you only for a life sentence in this prison by the sea, and the alleyways are narrow, and there are more human lives packed one against the other more than any other place on earth. Just run. We aren't trying to kill you. It doesn't matter that you can't call us back to tell us the people we claim to want aren't in your house, that there's no one here except you and your children who were cheering for Argentina, sharing the last loaf of bread for this week, counting candles in case the power goes out. It doesn't matter that you have children. You live in the wrong place, and now is your chance to run to nowhere. It doesn't matter that 58 seconds isn't long enough to find your wedding album or your son's favorite blanket or your daughter's almost completed college application or your shoes or to gather everyone in the house. It doesn't matter what you had planned. It doesn't matter who you are. Prove you're human. Prove you stand on two legs. Run. The next poem I'll share is inspired by a conversation with my father, who was born in Jerusalem, Palestine in 1938. He was giving me a set of instructions about something, and the numbers and dates he was enumerating inspired the music for this poem. Sometimes the music of a poem finds you before all of the words and images. In case of emergency. This is how you open the box when I am no longer here. One of these might be the combination. 1975, the year you were born. 1967, the year we lost the rest of our country. 1936, the year your grandmother swallowed her gold coins to hide them from the soldiers. This is how you keep yourself safe, keep parts of yourself in different boxes. Trust no one with everything. 1949, the year my father died. 1979, the year the checkpoint taught you the difference between your name and your passport. 1999, the year the last of our olives were uprooted and the wall obscured Jerusalem. This is how you know it will end. When night falls, the windows of the city become mirrors. A key recalls the shape of its doorway. The stones of this land nestle in young hands. I think I'll do just two more poems. This one was published in a journal called Hayden's Fairy Review, and it's entitled Zagharid. The first time it tumbled out soft-edged, imperfect, but proof it had lived there all along, gleeful and spiraling, a girl delighted with her skirt spinning to show her aunts what its glittered tulle could do. The second time was at a wedding, the old women louder though they lifted it, a young bird trilling on the current, bird of more ambition than wingspan. The third time I was alone, wondering at my own sounds. Did they pulse and sway like the women who balance a row of gold coins and a tray of henna on their heads, who welcome the bridegroom as he descends the white horse? The fourth time was at a graduation, and it gleamed above the thick curls of a name. The 5th time I swallowed it, a mouthful of shrapnel, as the procession carried the dead boy back to his mother. The women's eyes rimmed the color of pomegranates, holding her up, coaxing it from her clenched jaw. The 6th time was at an airport. There were women waiting, and when their wait ended and their voices broke, the sky opened. My mouth sent it, and it held me among them. The 7th time was at a hair salon. The 7th time I was already a mother. The 7th time the woman who makes the coffee rushed over and said, "The bride is leaving." The 7th time, when in my half-knowing I smiled, she clarified, "Her mother is dead. There is no one to send her off. We're going to. Can you ululate?" And it was the first time the tears didn't disrupt its flight. The whole flock of it loosed from somewhere beneath my ribcage until I was lightheaded, and the walls hummed with our dancing breath, the stand-in mothers in our joy for her, until the ivory hem of her veil was no longer visible in the doorway. Some of the great moments in life happen at hair salons in Arab cities, and that encounter with a young bride was a deeply memorable one. In Arabic, at least in Levantine dialects, we call gardens jnene, which is a diminutive for the word paradise. And that's probably because, that must have something to do with scarcity of water and the magnificence of a lush garden, the contrast that it provides, but also because gardens feed us and house birds and animals and are often the sites for our great joys and become the sites of great memories for families. So the jnene of my childhood is the garden of my maternal grandparents' home in Amman, in Jabal Webde. And on a trip to Rome, I had an unexpected encounter with a tree that reminded me of that jnene, that garden, and all of the great memories of that childhood. And it made me realize that people are relatives, and so are the trees and plants that are so lovingly cared for generations on our land. Apricots. In Rome last summer, I learned that there are 7 varieties of apricots, that they are distinguished not only by their physical appearance, the freckles on their skin, or the percentage of it that reddens on the vine, but also by the month in which they ripen. Damascus, my grandmother's city, is known for the apricots of its Ghouta Valley, each name ending in a lingering E. Baladi, the original descendant of the ancients of China and the Korean peninsula, or Klabi, bitter Armeniaca vulgaris, hardy fruit of the eastern steppe, or Mawardi, with its flirtatious name and promise of perfume. That long E of the possessive claims the apricot for the country, the animal wilderness, for water softened with roses. Last summer in Rome, turning the corner onto Piazza de Santa Maria, the clink of the morning's last cappuccino glasses and low growls of Vespas on the street gave no indication of the city I would travel to a few steps forward. I wasn't thinking of the jam-colored sunsets of Amman, the stone fruits and wedding music that filled my grandmother's garden, the serrated leaves of her apricot tree. Then a scent drifted up from the cobblestones, a thickness, a palpable haze of flesh beginning to spoil, of sugar turning in sunlight. In Amman, a tree like the one leaning on a wall in the piazza had reigned over our childhood. Baladi apricots like shattered lanterns aglow at its base, darkening, gathering droves of ants, the ravenous taking. Not the perfume of Damascus Mawardi, nor the silk kiss of blossoms, nor the fruit's citrus. It was the scent of spoiling, of too much sweetness that claimed me, long cry at the end of the ballad of old summers. In Amman, it is known that an apricot harvest can be ruined by untimely frost, and that, like Rome, the city is built on 7 hills. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the festival.